Hey guys, welcome back to the Struggleville 2 YouTube channel. Thought we'd just do a rambling, babbling video out in the garage, talk about some of the upcoming projects we're going to be doing on the Caprice. Hopefully, some of them anyway, get recorded and can do videos on this channel. I wanted to start a new project actually today, but it's just gotten too late in the day to start something fresh. And I'd really like to be able to start. I don't like leaving things half finished, so it's just the tie rod ends. It's not a huge deal, but I'm doing both ends, the inners and the outers. And I also got the sleeves over here. So it shouldn't really be too hard, especially I don't have to mess with unscrewing the old ones from here. I can just pop them off. And my dad and I did a bunch of suspension work about last week or so. So the outers were just taken off then. So I really don't think it'll be too hard of a project. I just don't want to get it started just now. We did the upper control arm bushings there. We did the lowers. We did all 4 ball joints. We did the sway bar bushings. If you watch the video from last week or so, I put in new shocks one day. So then we're going to have the tie rod ends done. And I think I'll be ready for new tires and an alignment. I never got an alignment on this car. You know, it's weird. I've owned it since July 15th, 2000. How funny is it that I can remember the exact day of that, but don't ask me anybody's birthday. I have no idea. So I've almost owned this car for 20 years. I was 14 when I bought it. It was $600. Bought it off some guy on a farm that said it was going to go to a demolition derby. So I'm glad it didn't. It didn't have an engine or trans, nothing. It was just all gutted and rusted out. So my dad and I did a lot of work back when I was a teenager on this thing. And we did our own front end alignment the best we could. But when I took it to a place to actually get a front end alignment done, they said because these bushings were all so bad that they couldn't do the front end alignment. Well, back then, I didn't have a dime to my name. I don't have any money. What am I going to do? So I just never got a front end alignment. And you know, now things are a little bit better. So replaced all these bushings, gonna get new tires because these are shot. I don't know if you can tell, there's the belt sticking out in one spot and there's a good bubble. Let's see if the camera can pick it up. I don't know if you guys can really see that on the camera or not, but tires are just absolutely shot. So I want to get a front end alignment. I want to get new tires. I'm thinking about getting new rims because these are American Racing Torque Thrust Ds. I was about 16 when I got them. I actually remember kind of the whole story about getting them. I was working at a pizza place delivering pizza, which before I started working for myself, I made more money when I was 16 than I was making when I was like 28 because I actually made decent money delivering pizza. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is I was delivering pizza and I wanted rims for the car. I had Chevy Rallies, the Rally rims beforehand, which that was kind of a funny, interesting story too. Maybe another day. I bought these, but I didn't have the money for. I got the tires and the rims at the same time. I didn't have the money for it, so my sister actually gave me the money, and I paid her back as I was working at this job delivering pizza. So I worked at the job for like a summer, and I got into an argument with the manager and walked out, and that's kind of how all my jobs have ended, really. But I don't get along well with people. It's a struggle, let me tell you. Anyway, so all the money I made from delivering pizza went to pay back my sister who bought my tires and rims for me. But anyway, the reason I got the American Racing rims, because they were a lot cheaper than the Craigers. And you can see they look a very similar style to the Craigers, but I would like the Craigers better. And I'm kind of on the fence if I'm willing to spend the money to switch over to them now or not. I don't know. I would like them, so I kind of feel like, yeah, I probably should, and damn the consequences. I'll figure out paying for it another time, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. And then the other project we're working on, that's going to be right after the tie rod ends. Actually, I kind of want to do the springs first, but since they're a little bit more involved, I probably should do the tie rod ends first. I got rear coils. They're Moog coil springs for the back end there. I'm trying to say, I don't think there's any good spot in the garage where I can show you guys how the car is sitting on the side. Hold on. if you can... I don't know. Anyway, I bought the wagon versions, station wagon version of the springs because they're supposed to sit just a little bit higher. And at least that's what I was reading on different forums. Hopefully these people are right. Because I like the back end sitting up a little bit higher than the front end. And you can see the way it's sitting right now. And the garage is sloped ever so slightly towards the door there. But that's with like 100 pounds of pressure and air shocks. If I let that pressure out, that wheel well, the fender right there, comes all the way down about even with the top of the rim. I just don't like it sitting that low. So the problem is when you have that much air in the air shocks, one, I've already gone through one set. I busted a set going over railroad tracks one time back in the day. But every bump, everything, you go pop, 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 pop. It's like, God dang, man. It's a rough ride. A lot smoother when you let the air out of the shocks, but also then you're feeling like you're reclined. I'm not sitting in a recliner. So I'm hoping those springs give me a little bit of height without the rough ride of the air shocks. That's what we're hoping for. We'll see how it works out. Some people said just put bigger tires in back and smaller tires in front. And I got to get new tires anyway, so let's change these springs and see what happens. Some other projects we're going to work on. Where's the front? You see my little bug zapper? It doesn't work real good when all the lights and stuff are on, but oh, the mosquitoes are so bad in here. Even, I mean, outside they're horrendous, but even in the garage, like, jeez. So up here, the carburetor, I want to tune it, adjust pretty much everything. So, but I want to do a video on it, so we're not even going to touch it just yet. I'm good on like 75% of what I want to do, but there's 25% I want to look up to make sure I'm right about it when I go to do the video. So we're waiting on that just for a second. I don't need it at all, but I would like an aluminum radiator. Some of them are ridiculously expensive. Other ones really aren't so bad. So something I'll probably have to look up the reviews because I don't want a cheap one. But then again, I'm not throwing out this old stuff. I got a little chicken coop. I'd never put chickens in it, but the previous owner did. It smells like shit. Then I got a lot of extra parts. I got the other hood. We'll talk about the hood here in a second. But I'd like to get an aluminum radiator and then switch over to electric fans and get rid of that clutch fan. I would really like to do that. I would enjoy it immensely. So another thing I want to do is get rid of that chrome top on the air cleaner. I want an air cleaner that has filter on top also so it can suck from the top, because I have this Cowl induction hood. It's a 2-inch Cowl induction hood, which obviously isn't original to the car. It's made by Glass Tech. Again, I bought it when I was 18 or something. And you see all this goofy ass going on right here. The hole in the middle used to be super tiny, so I cut it out more. I don't even know what I used back in the day. I didn't even have any tools, so I'm sure it was something really bad. I don't know. But anyway, I just picture in my head that when the hood is shut, it's shutting right on top of that chrome air filter, and that I can't get any of that air up there. What I did back in the day was I had a Holley air cleaner. It was one of those honeycomb ones where it's like a mesh stuff, and the filter is like the top of it, right? And I didn't like how it looked really, but it served my purpose for this, right? Well, let me tell you, it did not last long at all. The engine backfired, and it caught that thing on fire. It melted. You can see all that, the cowl right there? Oh, it's all discolored and everything. That's what the fire came through the hood and singed that. My windshield was all covered in soot and all black, and there's still some stuff I gotta fix now from that. You can see that red distributor cap is all black there. That's soot that wouldn't come off of it. You can see that screw on just the left side's kind of melted. The connector there is melted. That sucked. So something that I thought was a pretty decent idea really screwed me in the end there. But this car sat for a really long time, and now it's time to start getting things put back together, upgrading things that maybe I couldn't afford back in the day. Dodging mosquitoes here. The inside, I really don't have to do a whole lot on this thing other than a stinking mouse ate a hole in the headliner. I gotta take care of those stupid wires. Another thing I did back when I was like 16 or so is I put in a keyless entry. It also came with an alarm, but I never used the alarm. I didn't care about that. I wanted the keyless entry. I just thought it was a cool thing to have. So it's all them stinking wires, and it goes through the door here, and then the rod inside the door. Look, those door panels are actually real nice door panels. Real nice door panels. Look at that. Added the speaker there. My sister bought me those speakers. I think it was a birthday or Christmas gift. Then my dad bought the engine. And then the original transmission, not the one that's in it, my cousin was moving and he was junking a 87 Camaro, so he just gave it to me for free because the thing was going to the junkyard. So that's how I was able to afford a lot of stuff as a teenager. People just gave me stuff. But mosquito, I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, it has like a little actuator that gets tied to the rod for locking and unlocking the doors, and when you'd hit the keyless entry, it would go the real pain about it was if you didn't get, I think they just gave you tie wraps or something, like zip ties to tie the two together. If you didn't get it tight enough, the actuator would move, but the rod wouldn't, so it wouldn't actually lock or unlock the door. But once you got it in there and installed right, it was fine. It did really good. I don't even have the keyless thing anymore, though, and I really don't care about it now. I just liked it back in the day. So anyways, most of those wires are to that, and I would really like to remove it, but it ended up, you had to splice into so much stuff. You know, I don't want to mess something up either, so I got to pay attention to what I'm doing there and what I'm snipping and what I'm taking out. This other wire, the yellow, black, and red, that went to a B&M Lockup torque converter box. That's also what this little Velcro I got to take off is. My original 700R4, the one that came out of that Camaro, had a Lockup torque converter. And way back in the day, I just used this toggle switch right here. And you turn it on, it locks up the torque converter, it drops your RPMs, you get a little bit better gas mileage. And I think if it's a Lockup torque converter and you don't have it set up to lock, it can actually overheat the transmission, but don't quote me on that one. But anyway, the problem with that was the engine would try to die if you forgot to unlock it when coming up to a stop sign or stoplight or whatever, because it's still locked up. And it also, the transmission just feels like it shifts different with the lockup on. So I went to this B&M Lockup torque converter, and it was a little box with a dial, and it hooked up to your speedometer cable, so it knew how fast you were going, and that dial controlled, you know, coming off that speedometer gear, how fast you were going. With the dial you could control when it locked up, and you get below a certain speed and it would unlock, and it actually worked pretty well. So last year I got this new transmission, and all the literature of it said that it only locks when you're in overdrive or in fourth gear, and then it locks. But I still am using this switch because I'm telling you, if it shifts differently whether you have it on or off. And I don't know enough about it to tell you exactly what's going on, but anyway, I still have the toggle switch, and I leave it off when I'm driving kind of through town and, you know, a lot of stoplights and stop signs stuff. He doesn't have that problem where it tries to die still, but it's hard to explain. And I only turn it on when I'm on like a highway or country roads or something. So other stuff in here, it's really just cleanup stuff, like cleaning up the chrome on things. Got that new cheap Amazon stereo. It was like $25, but it's Bluetooth, so it connects to my phone. It's everything I need. Got these gauges added way back in the day. But the interior is actually real nice in here. Look at that, though. Look at that! You dirty, rotten. It's a new headliner, too. Gets a little messed up in the back. This thing was a nightmare to put in, I'll tell you. Because it's for an Impala. and 99% of parts are interchangeable between the Impala and the Caprice, but the headliner is not one of those. The Impala has one less rod going through that headliner. So these are all rods. There's a hole on each end over there, and there's a clip in the middle that holds it. There's a center support that goes down the roof of the car, and there's little clips, and these things like clip into it, and that's what holds the metal rods right there. Well, the Impala has one less. Is it one less or one more? No, it had to be one less. It's one less the Impala has. So my headliner's for an Impala, and the spacing is a little bit different right here. So we had to cut the support and get our own way of getting that rod in there because it didn't meet. It wasn't the same anymore, the spacing. And it worked for the most part, but then one day had the windows down and a semi went by and air must have got in there and it just ripped the rod out of its center spot and it swung around the other way and it just stretched this thing all out and just made it look awful. And there's been a couple times since that it's done that, and without taking this whole thing off, I don't know how to really fix it, and I really don't want to do this headliner again. Boy, that was a pain. Probably wouldn't have been as bad if we didn't have to screw around with the rod situation, and the back wind sails have never looked real great. That whole section could kind of be figured out, but the back tray, seats, pretty much looks good. Ah, that mouse though. God, it makes me so mad. So yeah, that's a couple of projects we got going on, guys. And there's a lot of cleanup stuff. And man, when it's just generic parts, like these springs were generic enough that a few different vehicles used them, so they're easy to find. Same thing with the tie rod ends. I mean, even regular parts stores have those tie rod ends because they're used in so many things for so many years. And stuff with the engine, easy to find. Things that were also used with an Impala or a Biscayne is really easy to find. But like these little, I don't know, like chrome louver guys back here, that's Caprice specific. Impossible to get. Impossible. All you're going to do is fix what you got. Maybe re-chrome what you got. Whatever it is, you're not getting new ones. I mean, you might find used ones somewhere, but you're not getting new ones. So things like this emblem here be ridiculously expensive to replace. So you got the bumper, it's not bad, just needs to get cleaned up. There's a lot of stuff. Outside handles, I'd like to get new ones, now shiny and new. The locks, I have a different key for every single lock. Each door, the ignition, the glove box, and the trunk all have different keys. So I would like to at some point get a whole new set. At least keys some of the stuff the same. So that's the Caprice. Then we got the Corvette. Well, there's no real projects I got to do on the Corvette. We've done a lot on it. And it's pretty much good to go. The only thing is, I did that wiper switch in a video. Oh, I can't really tell from here. I did that wiper switch in a video a month or so ago, and it fixed the wipers, but the screw that holds it in place up in the dash there, or the center console, it came out because it needs to be a fatter screw. It's just stripped out there, and I didn't pay real close attention to what exactly you're screwing into or what the situation is there, but I need to get a fatter screw that'll bite better, or I need to see what is it screwing into. Maybe if it's just some kind of like a little like a clip nut thing of some sort, I can get a new one and replace it there, but I have a feeling that's not what it is. Other than that, we get a little stumble coming off of idle. I'm thinking we got something going on with the carburetor there. And I believe that's a Holly on here. Boy, sometimes I get so confused by the two cars because when it comes down to the engine stuff, they're both small block 350s, and well, did you do that over there? Did you do that over there? We got a new starter, new fuel pump. The carburetor is new, it just sat forever is the only thing that's kind of It sat for a long time. New clutch and the fan. I'd like to get the electric fans on this thing too, man. That'd be really nice. Got to disconnect the stupid key buzzer. In the video I did the door switches, and before the key buzzer, or the door, you know when you open the door, that. It's only supposed to buzz like that when the key is in the ignition, but it does it all the time when you open the door. And boy, that's annoying as hell. So to get to that though, I gotta take the kick panel off and everything. So I've been kind of avoiding it just because to get the kick panel off, you gotta take the sill plate off. Someday I just gotta reach in there, take all that stuff off, unplug that wire, probably wrap it or put something on it so it doesn't accidentally touch anything, and say adios to that problem. I'll show you this one light real quick. I'm finally able to show people the Olight light. They said, don't tell anyone about this light until, I think it was yesterday was the first day. How cool is that thing? That looks awesome. I forgot what model number this thing is, but it's got the tactical switch on back. It's got your regular switch there. It's a little Olight. It's going to be in their flash sale coming up in a week or two. They're pretty expensive, but it's a nice light. It also comes with the better charger, the 2-amp charger instead of the 1. They sent me that and one of those i25T lights, the ones that use 2 AA batteries. Alright guys, I'm going to take a couple of measurements before I have to head back inside. Oh, nice and clean that garage floor is compared to what it was a week ago. Got the pressure washer out with that surface cleaner. That thing is awesome. I even pressure washed all my shop rags because I'm a cheap ass. And that just seemed like the way to go. They were free rags from Menards, or towels. And I used car wash soap that was free from Menards, so look at that, all I had to do was pay for the electricity. Anyway, we're going to measure that radiator because I'm going to take a little gander at what's available out there. I'd like to buy a kit that's the radiator with the fans, but I don't have to go that way if there's a cheaper way to go about it. Man, look how singed that thing was on this side. Craziness. Alright guys, not the most exciting, but that's my car. That's some projects that we're going to work on. I'm sure there'll be other stuff as we go. I went through a Summit catalog and put little post-its on a million different pages of different things that I wanted to pick up. So as time and money allow, we're going to get to it. Alright, thanks for watching guys. Give the video a like, subscribe for another subscriber. I'll see you guys next time.